Hey you guys, and welcome to my channel. This video is some tough love. Alright, so if you ain't ready for that, go ahead on and leave now. I'll give you a few seconds. Alright, but this is some tough love here I'm not going to call you survivors right now, but for those of you who are still sleeping with the narcissist, this is going to be some tough love, and perhaps some of you need to put this on repeat because it's something that you really need to drill into your mind so we can get it down into your subconscious. We can shift your perceptions. You can have a different mentality, a different outlook on your behaviors and why you should not continue to sleep with a narcissist. Okay? I mean, what are you trying to set them up in some type of sex scandal? That is like such the exception. To try to bring them down in some type of sense. That is an exception right there. But most of you are still doing it because you find some type of enjoyment in it. And this is where we need to start really getting in, really, what would I call this? Really dissecting, why we're doing things. Giving ourselves the right to really examine, just because I think something is a good idea, just because I feel like it's a good idea, is it actually a good idea when we step into our logic? Because I can't think of good reasons to sleep with these people on so many levels. It further devalues you. All right, as this person has disrespected you, chances are on the highest of levels. They've probably been unfaithful cheaters. You could have had a history of getting STDs, even if they're quote unquote STIs, the infections that may not seem as harmful as the bigger dogs of, the STDs, but still they're giving you infections, causing you yeast infections and nasty things. All right, so they're not clean a lot of times because they're not using protection with other people, and they don't know how to be monogamous, so there's no trust there. So now it's your flesh. It's your flesh, and it's your trauma bond. It's your soul tie, and you feel like something in your mind says, well, maybe this is the only good thing we have. And then some of you have been in situations, well, I have all my kids with him, or he's the only man I've slept with for the last such and such. I don't sleep around. Because most women are creatures of habits when it comes to the bedroom. They will go and sleep with a familiar partner before they add another notch, most of the time. But when that previous notch or all those other notches were toxic men or, partners, then why would you want to go backwards? Because of some stigmatism. Oh, I'm adding another body, or, I don't have anyone else and I'm in the mood, and, or you feel like that's what the narcissist was good for, especially if it was a somatic narcissist. But when we have a bigger picture view of things, you get disgusted by the end of it. You get disgusted by it. And it should be disgusting. I hear all kinds of situations, and people use, they come up with reasons to justify continuing to sleep with a narcissist. And yes, it's your body. You can do with it what you please. But if you're truly seeking to be healed, why would you want to do that? You're keeping yourself connected to his energy, to his spirit. There is a reason why in the Bible, God talking about two becoming one sexually. You are bonding yourself to that person, which is going to be counterproductive in you getting away from that person. But I'm trying to have you make it make sense to me. I understand some low vibrational, ignorant thoughts and ideologies that we may have to justify this. But they're just that. They're just that. And we're in our flesh and we're having that resistance to change. And then you fellas out there doing it, you already have one child and she's putting you through hell and you're going to do it again. Men are a little less likely to fall into this trap because they're easier to move on than women because we're typically more emotional about things. But they fall for it as well. And that's how a guy can have a bunch of kids with a girl he don't even like because they feel like that was the hot part of the relationship. They don't want to let it go. Then it's unprotected. What do you think is going to happen? You're going to reproduce. All right. And then there's some of you out there who recently had a baby with a narcissist or have young children with a narcissist and you feel like you can't move forward. So when your sexual desires come on you, you just give it to them. And it's setting you up to be, susceptible to having yet another child with someone you can't even co-parent with, let alone giving your chance at, having the husband and the proper support. You should be disgusted by how that narcissist treated you through the pregnancy. There's no way that you should be still getting turned on sexually by this person. And especially, when they've done everything disrespectful in a book. Some of them have put their hands on you, called you every name in a book, put you down, caused major depression, had you crying every other second, and they get to enter you again? They get to have sex with you again? Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. How serious are you taking their offenses? How serious are you really taking the disrespect at that point? When you can still go sleep with that person again? You can still give them that part of you again that is supposed to be sacred to you? Yes, there clearly has to be some type of evaluation of self-esteem here. There's clearly someone that's moving out of the space of lack and limitation here. Because this is a prime example of how someone can go right back to the situation that actually put them in the situation that they're in now. We go right back into it. We go right back to our abuser, or we go attract someone else in a similar energy when we haven't found our healing. But we don't want to go through the purge. We don't want to feel the burn. We don't want to just take care of our own sexual desires for a moment. Give ourselves a chance to break that soul tie. As soon as it's calling you, you're running right back to it. A lack of self-discipline, being very short-sighted and extremely fleshly. But for everything that this person has done to you, for everything that they've done to you, make it make sense to me. How did they earn that? How did they ever earn it? Now that we're, thinking in our logic for a moment here. See, I'm hoping, I'm catching you now why that feeling is not coming over you, why you're not feeling horny, why you're not piquing your sexual desires. And you can think logically right now. Where do they deserve that? Where have they earned it? So why do they get to keep having it? I get a little frustrated when I hear these situations and they cross my path all day, every day in these coaching sessions, when I'm reading my threads, when I'm reading my emails, and I hear about this over and over. This person is still getting access to you. You're still allowing them to have sex with you. Why? Make that make sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. You should want to vomit and throw up at the thought of sleeping with someone who treated you like that. It should make you want to throw up. It should disgust. You should be repulsed by it. And if you aren't, it means that you are still having the wrong perceptions about this situation. You need to disassociate any good thing that you are perceiving out of that, because you are being delusional at that point to yourself. It should be disgusting. And that's why when we go further in the healing process, when we truly do, and that person tries to come back, their touch doesn't feel the same. They don't look the same. And you might even go ahead through the act of sex because you weren't strong enough not to. It doesn't feel the same. You weren't turned on the same. It starts to chip away at you when you actually really step out of resistance to that and you really step into acceptance to what it was. You get turned off by that person. How are they able to still turn you on? That's a red flag that you're not where you need to be. You are very much not where you need to be because you should be disgusted by that. And again, I'll pose that question. Make it make sense to me. Yeah, I'm going to expose myself to STDs and STIs. Yeah, I'm going to before we even get to all of that, I'm going to allow a person that literally and even physically and psychologically spit in my face. I'm going to allow them to have access to me on that again, on that level. We got to do better. We got to do better. We got to love ourselves enough. There's billions of people in the world. You don't have to turn that way if that's the case. If you just can't keep it in your pants, it doesn't have to be them. We know sex is one of the easiest things to find out here. And that's part of the problem. We're devaluing the whole act of it and not realizing what it's doing to us in the short term and in the long run. It has to become sacred, guys. When does it become sacred? When do we consider our logic and not just run off of our flesh? You have some work to do if it's not disgusting to you. Like I think about the former narcissist, it makes me want to throw up. It makes me want to throw up that I ever came into contact with that energy in such a way. I never want to come into contact with that energy again in any way, let alone sexually. Are you kidding me? It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Someone that never loved me, someone that never cared about me, someone that caused post-traumatic stress disorder, someone that abused me on every level possible, and I'm still going to sleep with that person? You have to get some help at that point. You got to get some help to help you from yourself at that point. Because you can't make it make sense to me. It won't. It won't make sense. We got to do better, guys. It's just utterly disgusting to me. It really is. These people have done the most and they still continue to get the most. Are you serious? Are you serious? We got to do better.